Finding empowerment, embracing layers, yeah. We get to
Hello, Melissa Crook here, host of the Feel podcast. Welcome to today's one-on-one empowerment time with me. Today, we are talking about the Feel essentials, those essential points that we share in the podcast with our guests and that are now available to you through this conversation and through a variety of resources if you're needing further support in this. So we have this specifically, we have literally an online course called The Essentials. But there's also other ways to work with me on this. If you feel like you need more accountability through one-on-one empowerment sessions, the great thing about this is that it just gives you these points that you need to be checking in with yourself. So if you start feeling a little angsty or out of rhythm, or you're looking at your calendar and feeling some discomfort and not so excited about some things, if you're feeling wore out, it's time to go back to the essentials and check in with yourself. So I'm going to give you a quick snippet of those today. And then, like I said, if you need more support, there'll be links in our show notes and on our resources page to get you to that support that you need. And that can simply start with a free 30-minute empowerment session with me to talk about what's going to best support you. But today, I want to get these in your thinking and give you a chance to start implementing them into your life if you haven't already. So the Feel Essentials are comprised of these key questions: describing yourself by your character traits, describing and thinking about the activities that nourish you, thinking about how you want to feel in the next 6 months. But before doing that with the essentials, I'm going to invite you to get curious about your layers and really focusing in on the embracing layers journey. It's taking a look with curiosity rather than judgment at all those pieces and parts that make up your story and checking in with yourself to see if there's any areas that you've got shame around, that you have been stuffing or avoiding, that you have tried to move forward from but haven't really processed some of what was left behind from that experience, from that time frame. And it's getting curious to see where that's still impacting you or not, and how you can move forward with, you don't have to love it, but a more neutral lens on it. The ability to look at that event, that time period, that decision with, given where I was at that time, I understand how I landed here. Or terrible things happen, and this was not my fault. I did nothing to contribute to this, but I can move forward from this, and I can heal, and I can make decisions to ensure that this isn't going to hold me back. So it's really putting that curiosity lens, removing the shame, removing the judgment. And this part is so important, this layers part, because we prioritize what we value. And if we don't value ourselves, we won't prioritize ourselves. We won't be the first things we put in the calendar. We'll be the first things we take out of our calendar. So that layers piece is a really important part to dive into. Then those 3 questions that I referred to. And then we move into, how does this impact my self-care daily? In these activities that nourish me, in my self-care, am I looking at and taking into consideration my emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, sexual health? Am I seeing those connections there? Do I need to take some time each day to write down all the emotions that I'm feeling or experiencing to ensure that I'm processing them, that I'm giving them space to breathe, that I'm acknowledging them, that I'm determining if the root of them is true or not, or it's an old narrative that I've treated as truth that needs to be unlearned with some new practices relearned to help me move forward, move through, and get to a healthier space with it. So the naming of the emotions each day can be really pivotal and giving them space to breathe to make sure we're not living disassociated from our bodies, and really gives us some insights to what might need some attention. And making these decisions helps us to then show up unapologetically. And what I mean by that is we're not apologizing for taking up space. We're not apologizing for things that aren't our fault, just to keep the peace, not to ruffle any feathers. We're truly naming what it is we're accountable for, but also not feeling like we have to lead every time we need something for ourselves with, and I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I need more time here. No, hey, I need more time here. This is taken longer than I expected. So I need some more time. If you could please honor that, that would be great. Or let's talk about how we can work together on this. But it's not leading with an apology. And it is understanding that so many times we as women live like we're an inconvenience, or our needs are an inconvenience, but we don't treat others that way. We make sure those people we love and care about and are caring for are at the top of the list, but then we treat ourselves like an inconvenience. We're not going to do that anymore. So we're going to show up unapologetically, and we're going to support other women in doing that as well. They're not our competition. Everyone wins when one of us wins. We're going to make room. We're going to rise up together. When we see that woman getting interrupted continually, we're going to stop the meeting and say, hey, I don't think Charlotte was finished yet, George. Let's let her finish. Those kinds of things. And we're going to support each other. And we're going to see that importance of all of our voices being heard. All of our voices are necessary. Different people are going to connect with different voices depending on where they are in their life. And so removing that competition idea and realizing that to really move things forward for women, it's us coming together and honoring each other, being curious about each other's stories, asking how we can support each other, not assuming we know that. But this all starts with the other steps I've talked about. We're well-resourced. We're taking care of ourselves well. We know our value. We're tending to all the parts of our health and seeing how they're connected. And through this lens, we get a real good idea of what our values are, what we care about, what our why is. And that leads us back to healthy boundaries. Okay, I know what I need to nourish me. I know that there's some areas in my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health that need to be tended to. I know what I value. So where do I need to set some healthy boundaries? Where do I need to say no? Where do I need to say yes? Am I taking into consideration when I say yes to something, I'm saying no to something else? Am I okay with that? Am I giving myself 24 hours minimum to think about whether this thing fits in my life when someone asks something of me? Going back and consulting my calendar, my team, myself, my family, whatever the case may be. So this gives you a really good lens into those values, why you're doing things, where you need to set some healthy boundaries, and seeing, okay, does that align? And that can give you a clue to where those, because you might think, oh yeah, I'm living in alignment. And then you look at your calendar like, oh, wait a minute, this does not reflect what I value. This does not reflect what I need. Does not reflect all the different aspects that need to be cared for. This is a reflection that maybe was accurate 5 years ago, but isn't accurate now. So again, this framework is here to support you to continue asking these questions as you move through different seasons in your life. And you're looking at, am I living out of my own expectations, or am I living out of others' expectations, cultural expectations, what my expectations were a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Am I honoring where I am today? And do I need to communicate my expectations more clearly, communicate my boundaries more clearly? People are not mind readers. So we can decisions and want to make these shifts, but we have to clearly communicate them. And that can really trip people up sometimes. And so that might be where my online course or working with me one-on-one could really help you. We could work through a script. But I want to give you these today to try out for yourself, because you might be surprised by asking yourself these key questions, how much it helps you take a look at some things and analyze some things and recognize where some shifts might need to occur. And then we're looking at, as we live out, feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers, how we're feeling about ourselves, how that impacts our relationship with ourselves, and how that impacts our relationships with other people. Are we surrounding ourselves with people and voices and places and spaces that support us, that want us to be well? Or are we surrounding ourselves with places and spaces and voices and people that just want something from us and they don't want us to shift or change because that makes life for them uncomfortable? And this can be sneaky and we don't always see it because this can occur in all kinds of different spaces. It can occur in your workplace. It can occur in your community spaces, your faith spaces, your family spaces, your home spaces. And so really taking a look at this and recognizing that once you know your own value, there are some non-negotiables that you're no longer willing to tolerate or land in your space anymore. And so, there may be some shifts again that need to happen there, but ensuring that you're surrounding yourselves with people that care about you and also people that you trust, but will also challenge you when they see you getting off course or when they see you following a place or space or expectation or ask that maybe isn't aligning with where you are now, maybe because it can be easy to fall back into old habits. These things take practice as we're shifting, as we're changing through different seasons, and we want to make shifts it takes time, it takes empathy, a lot of patience with ourselves, a lot of love. So having yourself surrounded by people that are going to really support you in that and that you can support is really impactful and helpful. And so these are some really key components and things that you can consider as you're looking at where you are today. And when you get a little angsty, you can go back to these essentials and start asking yourself some of these key questions. So you might ask, okay, who is this designed for? Well, it's perfect if you're ready to really begin the feel journey on your own terms. We've been taught to define ourselves by what we do. The feel framework flips that script. It's about who you are and how you feel while you're doing it. And that is not selfish because, again, we want people to remember their experience with us as us being present, as being intentional, not feeling tired and ragged and irritable and distracted. And so by filling our own cups and making sure we're living in alignment and really applying these feel principles to our life, then that empowers us to be in that space intentionally the way we want them to remember their experience with us. They get the best version, the healthiest version of us, and not the tattered, distracted, fragmented version of us. This is about success without betrayal, impact without burnout, power without apology. That's what living out feel looks like. And so that is if you're ready for this, if this appeals to you, then let's get started with this together. Or if you're like, no, this is enough. This was the reminder I needed. No, these resources are there. Come back to our website. There's a multitude of resources you can look at on our resources page, on our podcast episodes, on our panel discussions, on our blogs, our newsletters, as well as if you decide at some point you need a little more help from me. We've got the online course and we've got the one-on-one empowerment sessions. Or if there's a group, I can come speak to your group. I mean, however it is, we can support you. We cover all the gamuts here. And so we want you to be able to live out feel unapologetically in a way that really helps you get in tune and alignment with yourself. And then you're inviting other women into it as well. We have a great book you can do as a book club together to help invite people into it. And again, these online courses, you can invite people into it, or you can simply share this episode today and say, hey, Melissa shared some really key questions that I think might be really supportive for you to consider as you're thinking about this new season you're in, this job change, the kids have gone off to college, this new relationship change, whatever it is, or you don't have any changes, but you're just feeling stuck. You're just living comfortably, but not curiously. You haven't felt any growth or movement in a while. All these places and spaces is the right time to start asking yourselves these questions embodied in the feel framework. Check out embracinglayers.com for all the support you need. Go to our show notes and resources page here to find links to this if you want more information. But hopefully this really got your attention and reminded you of some things that you need to continue asking yourself and that you can also share with others. Take good care of yourselves. Thanks so much for being with me today on the Peel Podcast. You are valuable, you are worthy, and you get to choose. We'll see you next time. Take good care.